Good day to everyone. I hope you listened very attentively to our lesson for today. It's all about the six theories on child and adolescent development. Let me introduce myself and my members and the respective topics. By the way, I am Venice Marie de los Santos, the leader of Study Hub number 8. And I'll be discussing the psychoanalytic and psychosexual theory of Sigmund Freud and also the stage of cognitive development of Jean Piaget. So Ms. Abejero will discuss about theory of social cultural development by Lev Vygotsky. Ms. Jo will discuss the Eric Erikson psychosexual development, and Ms. Pandalan will discuss the Lawrence Kohlberg stage of moral, and lastly, Miss Amiani will discuss the theory of Urine von Brenner's the ecological system theory. What's up, what's up? So, it's me again. So, let me discuss to you who was the father of psychoanalytic and the psychosexual theory. So, Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud was an Australian neurologist and the founder of psychoanalysis, born in May 6, 1856, at Czech Republic. Freud work revolutionized the field of psychology and had a profound impact on how we understand human behavior. So according to Freud, the structure of our personality is divided into three components, which are ID, ego, and superego. So what is this id? So the first to develop when a child were born, it's id. So it is composed of the basic instinct, seeking for pleasure, avoiding pain and suffering, and also it is the pleasure principle. So it belongs in our unconscious part of our mind that we are not aware of. So, for example, a baby is hungry. It wants food or milk. So the baby will cry. So nothing else matter to it except satisfaction of its own needs. So ego is connected to reality. It is a reality principle. So if it is on unconscious only, the ego is mostly in unconscious, partly in unconscious. So not all the time we need to follow id or ego. We need to balance it so that this part where the super ego will occur. So super ego is where our conscience develop what we might from strong, or it's a moral principle that develop in our mind of a children. So ego, it is an ego ideal what and how we want to be. Both the superego is both in conscience and unconscious. So it will be not separated, but it's also belong in conscious and partly on unconscious. So let's proceed to psychosexual. So psychosexual, the stage of personality development. So Freud stage of psychosexual development, it has five. So first is oral stage. So birth to 8 months. The ergus zone in this stage is the mouth. During the oral stage, the child is focused on the oral pleasure, which is sucking the finger or sucking the milk, bottle milk, or the mother's breast. So too much or too little satisfaction can lead to an oral fixation or oral personality, which is shown in the increased focus on oral activities. So sign of the personality might be oral receptive, like smoking, drinking alcohol, And the second one is oral aggressive, which is curse words. So let's proceed to anal, anal stage. So the second stage is anal stage. So it is 8 months to 3 years old. So the child focus on pleasure is in the anus. So the child finds satisfaction in eliminating and retaining feces. So satisfaction is eliminating the feces or the poops, his poops or her poops. So controlling in the bowel movement fixation during the stage can result being anal anal latative. An obsession with cleanliness, perfection, and control, or anal expressive, where the person may become means and disorganized. So next, let's proceed to phallic stage, age to 3 to 6. So the pleasure or the erogenous zone is the genitals. So our libido now burns to the genitals as we derive the difference between the female and male gender. So next is the latency stage, 6 to puberty. It's during the stage that sexual urge remain repaired the children has in the acquisitions of physical and academic skills. So lastly is genital stage, puberty and onwards. So the fifth stage of psychosexual development begins at the start of puberty when sexual urge are once again awakened. Sexual urge towards the opposite sex peer. That's all for the stages of psychosocial development. So we have already done by Sigmund Freud the theory of Sigmund Freud, which is psychoanalytic and psychosexual development theory. So now let's proceed to stage of cognitive development by Jean Piaget. So the basic cognitive concept, so schema refers to cognitive structure. So assimilation, fitting a new experience into an existing. So accommodation, creating a new schema. So equilibrium, the nature of needs understanding, and cognitive disequilibrium is discrepancy between when is perceived. So cognitive development continues effort to adapt to the environment. So here we have also stages. So the first stage is sensory motor stage. So focuses on the prominence of the senses and muscle movement. So example is under here is the object permanence. So the ability of a child to know that an object will still exist even when out of sight. So the to the second stage is pre-operational stage. So at this stage, the child can now make mental representation and able to pretend the child is now in closely to the use of symbols. So symbolic function, the ability to represent object and events. So under also in here is egocentrism. Egocentrism. This is the tendency of the child to only use his only see his point of view to assume that everyone also has his same point of view. So next is centration. The child only focus on one aspect of thing. So irreversibility, so inability to reverse their thinking. So amnesim, the attitude of human-like trait. So the transductive reasoning the pre-operational child top of reasoning. So the third stage is concrete operational stage. This stage is to characterize the ability of the child to think logical, but not a person of concrete, but not a term of concrete object. So now we'll proceed to the last stage, which is the formal operational stage. So in this final stage, they can now solve abstract problem and can do hypothesis. So thank you everyone for listening attentively for my report. So now please listen attentively to Miss Abajero's report, which is she will gonna discuss about the sociocultural development theory by Lev Vygotsky. Thank you.
Good day everyone, my name is Rosa Neabero and I'm from Study Hub number 8. So today, I will be talking about Lev Vygotsky's social learning theory. So Lev Vygotsky was known as the Mozart psychology, born in Orsha, Russia in November 17, 1896. To a middle-class Russian Jewish family, he enrolled to Moscow State University and he graduated in 1917 with degree in law. Vygotsky completed 270 scientific articles, numerous lectures, and 10 based on a wide range of Marxist-based psychological and teaching theories, and he died on June 10, 1934 at the young age of 37 after long battle with TB. In the 20th century, a Russian psychologist named Lev Vygotsky developed a theory of cognitive development in children known as Lev Vygotsky sociocultural theory of cognitive development. The main lesson of this theory, cognitive development in early childhood, is advanced through social interaction with other people, particularly those who are more skilled. Vygotsky proposed that social learning comes before cognitive development in children and that children construct knowledge actively. Lev Vygotsky's social cultural theory posits the social interaction play a fundamental role in development of cognition, suggesting that learning is a deeply social process. This theory emphasizes the role language and social interaction in cognitive development, arguing that dialogue is crucial for learning and growth. So, there are 5 key concepts from Lev Vygotsky socio-cultural theory. So, first, more knowledgeable other. Vygotsky believed that the cognitive development of children is strongly influenced by social interaction with more knowledgeable others. The concept of the more knowledgeable others refers to someone who has a better understanding or a higher ability level than the learners with respect to a particular task or concept. So, the second key concept, zone of proximal development. This concept refers to the difference between what a learner can do without help and what they can achieve with guidance and encouragement from a skilled partner. So, the third one is scaffolding, term coined by Jerome Bruner. Scaffolding refers to the support given by the more knowledgeable other when a student is learning within the zone of proximal development. For example, the teacher provides maximal support at the beginning when students are learning the task, but then the teacher gradually withdraws their support as competence increases until the student is doing the work with support at all. Fourth concept is private speech. Vygotsky views language as a critical tool for cognitive development, particularly as a means for internalizing knowledge. Language helps improve process and problem solving. Vygotsky came up with the term private speech to explain the self-directed speech, where a child talks to themselves that typically emerge in children around the age of 2 to 7 years old. He believed that private speech is essential a way for children to guide their own action, and through this, Vygotsky argued was important aspect of child development and demonstrate the importance of language in our cognitive. As children grow, they start to internalize this private speech. This begins to understand language can be used not only for communication with others but also as an internalized tool for thinking and problem solving. As adults, we note that we can think with words in our heads that help us to think through complex ideas. The last one is the 5 key concepts that important to know the difference between Piaget and Vygotsky. With both Lev Vygotsky and Jean Piaget were development psychologists, their approach to understand cognitive development were different. Piaget believed that children learn through independent interaction with the environment. He used the term lone scientist to explain how children learn through environment interactions. So, in the other hand, Vygotsky emphasized the social aspect of learning, arguing the cognitive development is largely a result of social and cultural interaction rather than simply interaction with the environment. Vygotsky didn't believe in stages of development like Piaget either. Rather, he thought development was a slow, gradual process that may occur differently in children depending who they are interacting with. So, this is all about Lev Vygotsky. So, thank you for watching.
Good day everyone, especially to you Coach Jude. I'm Rosalind Pandalan from B.H.U1A. So let me discuss to you my assigned topic, which is Moral Development by Lawrence Kohlberg and 6 stages. So first, we discuss the definition of moral development. Moral development refers to the process by which individuals develop their moral values, principles, behaviors, like for example, respect, empathy, honesty, fairness, and responsibility.
Lawrence Kohlberg's theory claims that our development of moral reasoning happens in 6 stages. The stages themselves are structured in 3 levels: pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional. To understand this better, imagine a conflict at school. There is a fight in the schoolyard. 2 ninth graders are beating up Tom. Those who watch the fight are at different stages of moral development. Let's see what they do and how they justify their behavior. At stage 1, we make moral judgments based on obedience and punishment. Finn's sense of good or bad is directly linked to whether he gets punished or not. Finn sees what is happening to his friend and wants to help, but he doesn't because he is afraid the teacher may punish him if he gets caught fighting. He asks himself, how can I avoid punishment? At stage 2, we are motivated by self-interest. Mary decides to intervene and help Tom. She knows that she might get punished, but she also knows that she could become a victim herself someday. If she helps Tom now, he might help her in the future. She is asking herself, what's in it for me? At stage 3, interpersonal accord and conformity guide our moral judgment. Betty sees the fight and wants to intervene, but when she realizes that all the others are just watching, she decides not to get involved. She wants others to see that she is a good girl who is conforming with the ethics of the community. She asks herself, what do others think of me? At stage 4, we value authority and want to maintain social order. When the teacher sees the group fighting, he immediately steps in and shouts, "Stop! Fighting at school is forbidden." He feels that, above all, it is important to follow the rules, otherwise chaos breaks out. He feels it is his duty to uphold the rules that sustain a functioning society. He asks himself, how can I maintain law and order? At stage 5, we understand rules as a social contract as opposed to a strict order. Jessie, who watches from afar, is not sure how she feels about this. To her, rules make sense only if they serve the right purpose. Obviously, the school rules prohibit fighting, but maybe Tom deserves to finally learn his lesson. Just yesterday, he punched a young girl from grade 1. She asks herself, does a rule truly serve all members of the community? At stage 6, we are guided by universal ethical principles. All those involved now have to face the headmaster. He first explains the school rules and why they exist. He then clarifies that rules are valid only if they are grounded in justice. The commitment to justice carries with it an obligation to disobey unjust rules. The headmaster's highest moral principle is compassion. He believes that all people should learn to understand each other's viewpoints and that they don't feel alone with their feelings. He asks, what are the abstract ethical principles that serve my understandings of justice? At the pre-conventional level, Finn is driven by fear and Mary by self-interest. Both judge what is right or wrong by the direct consequences they expect for themselves and not by social norms. This form of reasoning is common among children. At the conventional level, Betty responds to peer pressure, and the teacher follows the rules. Their morality is centered around what society regards as right. At this level, the fairness of rules is seldom questioned. It is common to think like this during adolescence and adulthood. At the post-conventional level, Jessie knows that things are complicated because individuals may disobey rules inconsistent with their own morality. The headmaster follows a universal ethical idea, at complete disconnect with what society thinks or the rules say. To him, everything is solved through compassion. The right behavior, in his opinion, is therefore never a means to an end, but always an end in itself. Not every person reaches this level.
So I have here 4 examples of factors that can influence moral development. First, family and parenting style. Family and parenting styles refers of how parents or guardians raise their children or how they taught or disciplines their children. Meron mga magulang dinisiplina nila yung mga anak nila by sobrang stricto, meron sakto din. Number 2 is education and social environment. Education will taught the students how to become respectful when they socialize with others. Number 4, peer relationship and socialization. Peer relationship, it depends of how bad or how good the individuals can influence to another. Like for examples, the person can influence the others in a positive way, the other individual developing social skills and cooperations, encouraging empathy and understanding to each other. And number 4, personal experience and reflections. So, ito yung mga references na ginamit ko to do my report. So, that's all my reports. Thank you for listening.